What a joyful Saturday it is. We welcome you on this beautiful sunny Saturday here in Texas. But wherever you are, we welcome you and we say thank you for joining us for our 10th anniversary of JOYE, Geranium Organization of Youth Excellence. We have a wonderful lineup today to tell you more about JOYE and just to pour into pour into you all about everything that we're doing with JOYE, with hopes of you learning more about JOYE and supporting us. So I would love to turn it over to Mr. Alfie, who will begin with our introductions.
Hello, good evening. My name is Alfie Jurim, and I am a volunteer here at JOYE. And I've been a member of this organization from its inception. 10 years ago, I could pretty much recall how this idea all started coming into formation and to where we are today. So again, my name is Alfie, and I am the chief, or you can call me the one of the biggest supporter and volunteer at JOYE. Thank you, Dr. Brown.
You're welcome. And I didn't even introduce myself. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Brown, and it is an absolute pleasure to work with JOYE as the Director of Education. I am new to JOYE, and it has been an outstanding experience so far. Mr. Gaston?
Can't hear you on mute.
Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. My name is Gaston Mendy, and I'm one of the fourth board of directors for JOYE from the beginning, and I'm still here. I'm still here supporting in any way, form or shape. So yeah. So I'm not new to this. That's all I can say for now.
Thank you. And Abdullah, if you would just give us a brief introduction.
Thank you very much. And good evening from the Smiling Coast, and many thanks for having me on this very important occasion. My name is Abdullah Jame. I'm currently a volunteer with JOYE in the Gambia, and I used to be a beneficiary of JOYE back in the day. And from the outset, I would like to take this opportunity to say a very happy 10th anniversary to JOYE. I'm very delighted to be part of this very important conversation as we reflect on our journey of 10 years into existence and a decade of progressively providing quality and accessible education to underprivileged children in the Gambia, in Kenya, and in the US. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you so much. At this time, we would like to ask that you just watch along with us and celebrate with us. And in the comments, if you could use the celebration emoji or happy 10th anniversary JOYE, we would truly, truly appreciate that. It is very important that we begin with where did JOYE begin? The introduction, the humble beginnings of JOYE. And we would like to show you all this wonderful video that was put together to tell you about JOYE. JOYE. JOYE means just that, joyfulness and gratitude. JOYE represents the gratitude and the paying forward, the forward investment into our community.
JOYE as a platform provides opportunity to link my children to my homeland, which is the Gambia. They get to learn about the needs of other children just like them, and hopefully see how fortunate they are growing up here in the US, and also be able to relate to my upbringing and the challenges I face growing up in the Gambia.
These stories of the children who were craving to attend school and grateful for the opportunity to attend school and grateful for the opportunity to be of service to their community, that tugged at my heartstrings. So that's what inspired me to be a part of JOYE.
providing a more holistic approach to child development, a more holistic approach to community development as well.
JOYE is a symbol of hope, and we're working together to bring a better and brighter future to students and their families and their communities.
JOYE is the smile on a child's face, knowing that they have the opportunity to advance their community.
We also provide items locally for students that are struggling in the Allen area. We do coat drives, school supply drives. We even do an Adopt a Highway cleanup where we're helping keep the community of Allen clean and looking nice.
JOYE is the glimmer of hope that each one of us places in a child's life when we invest in them. The glimmer of hope that they so desperately need. Just that little ounce of motivation and push that they need to know that they are our next leaders.
JOYE. Again, what a joyful afternoon it is today. Wouldn't you all agree?
Yes.
Oh, yes, it
It's
is.
a joyful afternoon indeed. And watching that video, I liked how that video actually finished. The finished segment of that video, the glimmer of hope.
Let's start there with our conversation. So when I learned about JOYE, it is the glimmer of hope, or the opportunity that was present because of this organization. And I would love for you all to tell us more about that humble beginning and that glimmer of hope.
I can take a stab at that, because I would say that when JOYE started, and this was over 10 years ago, where it was more around helping people individually instead of having an organization that actually carries an objective that people can rally around. It was more of an individual objective. And that individual objective started with myself, where just remembering, my time as a kid growing up, some of the opportunities that were accorded me, that without them, I would have not been able to be where I am today. And it came from a lot of different individuals that I don't even know. And I thought that because of my upbringing, my grandfather, who was a retired caretaker, who has a meager salary, trying to take care of me and couldn't. But because of my involvement in the church and other areas, I was able to attract people that see something in me that feels to them that this guy could go somewhere, and they trust and they invest in me to be where I am today. And I believe that there are some kids that I left back home. That was my mindset, that do not have the opportunity to be in that similar type of platform that I was accorded, to where people can see me and they need similar types of help. So the journey begins there to say, hey, you know what, you need to figure out how to help people that were in same position as you were, so that they can also have hope and also be able to be fruitful citizens of their countries or the world, right? So that's what brought about that humble beginning of the idea of actually starting an organization. But it didn't stop there, because when the organization actually was being, at that formation stages, when the ideas were pouring down, it's always good to have, it brought to my attention, it's always good to have that somebody there to keep you accountable. I shared it with some colleagues at work, but there's one colleague that stood out. Her name is Beverly Gamble, who in a way held me accountable to make sure that my idea come to fruition. And she did it in a very simple way, by just asking the simple questions. Hey, you told me about that idea. I thought that was a great idea. How is it coming? So I start coming up with different excuses. So every time I bring an excuse, she counter it with an offer by saying, I know somebody who can help you with that. I know somebody who knows somebody who can help you with that. And then before you know it, the organization is registered. We have a website. I am traveling to the Gambia, meeting needy children in the provinces. and just trying to bring about the change that I want to see, you know, in the world, which is to make sure that kids are not left behind. And providing education is a basic need for every child. And you just never know what they will become, because if you don't take care of them at that early age, then you know what they may become. It's not something that, you know, the world is ready for, because, you know, we have someone on the platform here like Abdullah. He was among the first students that were sponsored by this organization, and he was being kicked out of school. And today he's graduated, went to university, finished, all in the Gambia, and now he's working for United Nations. So that was something that I didn't even have in the back of my mind at that beginning, you know, at that humble beginning, because it was more all about helping somebody get through their education. So that was part of the humble beginning, but we'll talk more about the other sections of the humble beginning, you know, further on down the line on this conversation.
Thank you. You mentioned Abdullah being a beneficiary, and I just want to point out a little bit of what you said. You mentioned that it started with you being a child in the Gambia and people helping you. And I just want to say that we are thankful and joyful that the excuses stopped so that you could present this opportunity for other children. And like you said, so no one would be left behind. And Abdullah was one of those children who had the opportunity and was a recipient of JOYE gifts. So we would love to speak with Abdullah about your experience as a beneficiary of JOYE.
Thank you very much indeed. This is a a very important day for me, to be on this panel to sort of reflect on how far we've come. Like you mentioned, the humble beginning for JOYE. It's been an extraordinary journey for JOYE, and as a beneficiary, as a success story of JOYE, I'm quite pleased to be on this panel to share, how JOYE has impacted on my life to be who I am today, which I'm really grateful for. Just to sort of set the stage for my reflection. So I am from the West Coast region of the Gambia. It's almost over 100 kilometers from the city. So, and also I'm from a very underprivileged background. My family can't really support my education. So in my 9th grade, I was very fortunate to be part of the one of the few classes that Alfie actually visited when he was on his school tour, like he mentioned, to reach out to very needy and underprivileged students. So I was very fortunate to be in that class that Alfie visited, to sort of put the idea there, in terms of what JOYE stands for and what it intends to achieve. Unfortunately, I wasn't part of those that the school actually recommended, because perhaps there were more needy students than I was. But I didn't give up. I was one of the very few students at the time who had access to the internet. So I made use of the internet, and every other time I would always check on what JOYE is doing, and I was always in touch with Alfie, try to bother him a lot, bring his attention to my situation, that I'm very needy and I'm a very bright student, and I definitely need that little bit of opportunity, to thrive. And, I've been in touch with Alfie since then. And when I got to my 10th grade, my high school, actually, Alfie was back in Gambia again to sort of, check on the other students that were from my school, and we went to the same high school in the city and were, supported by JOYE. So, then I've been in touch with Alfie already, and he promised to see me when he comes to see us at school. So, it was then that I started talking to him really why I needed some, support to continue my high school. Otherwise, I would have dropped, because my family at the time couldn't support my high school bills. It was impossible. So, that was a miracle. Without hesitation, Alfie, he enrolled me. I was part of the program, and almost over 3 years in high school, JOYE continued to support me. paid my tuition fees, supplied me with all the stationery that I needed, and I was, involved in a lot of, extracurricular activities at school. And then there, my passion in journalism actually, started developing. I had a keen interest in becoming a journalist to tell the African story because oftentimes Africa is underreported or, negatively reported in mainstream media. So I wanted to sort of change that. And, so I started developing that passion for journalism and communications. And then through JOYE support, I was able to complete my high school. And in my 12th grade, before I actually left high school, I was the president of my the student newspaper group. I was the editor. And, that's a testament of how JOYE has supported me to be that bright and sharp, student in high school at the time. And also, then also I had to participate in a UK-based young reporter scheme to be a correspondent from the Gambia to share my perspective as a student in Africa reporting on a range of issues from the Gambia. So that's how, that's one of the, success stories that since JOYE started supporting me, I had all these opportunities from high school. I went to university, and JOYE did not stop there. JOYE came to my aid because when I got to university, I couldn't get a scholarship, and so JOYE, paid off my my first year at university. And while I was at university, I had the opportunity to start practicing real journalism. I started working for international media like the BBC and Al Jazeera, and so I started literally working from my second year at university. And thanks to JOYE support, who gave me the opportunity to enroll at university, and then I started earning income and started supporting myself from then. But JOYE set the stage for me from high school, and then I progressed through. When I graduated from high school, I felt I wanted to give back because I'll be too selfish if I just continue on like that after all the benefits that I derive from JOYE support to me. So I wanted to give back, and I wanted to sort of join as a volunteer and contribute to all the very good courses JOYE continued to do in the Gambia. So since then, I became a volunteer, and I've been, I'm a very proactive part of a team in the Gambia, supporting all the activities in the Gambia. So we have quite a number of volunteers in the Gambia who are very committed and dedicated to the cause of JOYE, and contributing to all the activities JOYE is doing, whether it's a distribution of school supplies, or whether it's a graduation ceremony, bring together our our students that we are supporting, or whether it's when COVID hit, this was a very crucial time. Most families don't have a lot of supplies to keep them for the months and probably the year ahead. So JOYE came in to support these students. And to be quite honest with you, I've seen the impact of JOYE support. Taking myself as an example, and numerous other students that I know that are part of this sponsorship program. I am not alone. There are a number of people out there that JOYE has supported, and right now they're also contributing back, giving back to the society, whether as teachers or myself as someone who works for the United Nations and in the development sector. So I would definitely say JOYE has definitely impacted massively on my life, on my family's life, and also the Gambia as a whole. Because right now I'm giving back to the country in my expertise as a communications professional for the United Nations Office for Project Services, implementing a lot of projects from infrastructure, from education, and the list goes on. So I'm quite delighted to be part of JOYE's story from the beginning to where we are today, and I think we should be very proud of ourselves. And I want to thank you, the supporters of JOYE, particularly because I probably wouldn't have been here without your support. So I want to on behalf of the team in the Gambia to recognize your very generous support and donations over the years. You've always been there for JOYE. To see that children go to school, get meals, have proper clothing, and get good shelter and clothing, and also in the agriculture sector, because JOYE has also supported a lot of farmers in the rural communities with seedlings and things like that. And I also want to add that one of the very interesting projects recently that JOYE has done in the Gambia was the construction of a borehole facility to provide clean water to a community on the north bank of the Gambia. This is incredible. For me, this is incredible in a community where access to water, potable water, it's a big challenge on the activities of that community. So that alone has really changed, the socioeconomic status of that community by providing potable water. So the list goes on. Joy has been here, has been supporting, and here we are 10 years on, we're still here, and the success stories are numerous. I'm one of them. I'm happy to say I'm one of Joy's success story, and I want it to end with me. I want more of my kind, to be out there, thanks to what Joy is doing. So for the meantime, I'll stop here, but I want to say what Joy has done really has massively impacted on the range of things, on the lives of very underprivileged children in Gambia who don't have the opportunity, to sort of harness their own potentials to become productive citizens. Over to you.
Thank you again, Abdullah. That was absolutely heartwarming. And I love the fact that joy is the gift that keeps giving, and you are paying it forward. And it's a culture of paying forward, continuing to give back, recognizing that this opportunity is available. And I think this is a perfect time for us to show, what else Joy does in a video format. If anyone is watching today and would love to sponsor a child, because as you can see, Abdullah is evidence of one of these success stories. So if we can show our video to show what else Joy does. Thank you, Abdullah.
Greetings from Kafuta. I am Aliou Sow, coordinator of the Gambia Community Library Project. Sending this appreciation video to JOYE organization, Dr. Amina Silla and her team. We're very grateful for the support towards the completion of this community library. This is the only community library in this area where children from other communities come to use the library for research and other educational activities, because we believe this is something that will go a long way in changing our community, and we really appreciate the support towards the development of this library. Currently, we have about 200 active users of this community library, where children will come after school and during weekends to have extra tutorials to work on various subjects. So yeah, we're sending an appreciation to your organization and all those who support this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you for that video. So Abdullah gave us a great lead in. He mentioned so many things that Joy is responsible for in his life. Talking about the education in the first year of college being taken care of. He talked about clean water. He talked about basic needs that are being met. Let's all share more about some of the activities that Joy has done in the past, the present, and we'll later talk about some of our future endeavors.
I guess Mr. Bamba will go.
You're on mute.
Okay, you're good now.
Oh, you unmuted me. Okay, well, thank you for putting me on the spot and voluntolding me, Alfie. So I just joined. So sorry, guys, I was a few minutes late. I was in the middle of something, but I caught maybe about 5 minutes of it's Abdullah, right?
Yes.
Of his message, and I'm totally inspired, absolutely inspired. And to me, that's what this world is about, right? I think the more we help people to be better off for themselves, the better this world would be. And Joy is doing just that, one person at a time in a country where it is much needed. So if you think about where we reside at the moment, we live in the US, most of us, except Abdullah. In the US, you have organizations that we work for that sponsor individuals to go get an education or whatever it is. Like they dangle an incentive out there for you to go out and be a better person for yourself. And they know very well, for example, a company can invest $100,000 in someone to secure a degree, knowing that the day they graduate, they can go get a job somewhere else. But it doesn't matter. The point is they've made one person a better person to serve this world. So that's the whole goal. And that's what JOYE is doing at a very, very large scale. But yeah, I'm gonna go back and ask for you to re-ask the question you asked, because Alfie caught me at a moment when I wasn't ready. So what was the question?
We're just sharing the activities and some of the, well, Abdullah mentioned that JOYE was responsible for his education, some of the basic needs, clean water, and we just wanted to speak on some of the other activities and programs that JOYE may have had in the past and present.
Yeah, well, JOYE continues to never. I'm looking for a good word here. Well, they never cease to amaze us, right? So as a community, I came into the community. Well, it goes way back. Alfie and I go way back. So we knew each other since when we initially started our college careers. And Gaston was also one of them that's on the screen right now. The three of us started our college careers here in Texas. I mean, I left Texas and they both stayed. I went back to New York and I was there for a very long time. And then when I came back, I moved back here about 7 years ago. I ran into Alfie. Well, actually, before I ran into Alfie, I had my niece, one of my nieces that was actually staying at my house, mentioned that she met this guy that is talking about a nonprofit organization that he founded, and he was trying to recruit her to volunteer for JOYE. At the time, I had no idea it was Alfie. She just talked about it, and when she said that, I'm like, wow, that's impressive for a Gambian that's doing such a big thing. I had no idea it was Alfie. So then I met Alfie at one of our community cookouts at a park. And then, after the yelling and, oh my God, Alfie, Bomb, or whatever, we haven't seen each other for a long time. And we reconnected. And then come to find out he was that guy that my niece was talking about. And I was even more impressed. But I wasn't surprised because, knowing the guy going way back to well over almost 30 years ago, he's always been passionate about help. And I think it goes back to the way he was raised. He came from nothing and was helped to be who he is. And he never forgot that. And that's huge. So JOYE does a lot of stuff, then and now, even in the midst of a huge pandemic where we're struggling to just live a normal life. JOYE still continue to host events where we're raising hundreds, in some cases thousands of dollars to help people. And Alfie is just doing that tirelessly, constantly reaching out to people, constantly reaching out to some of the people in our community with influence, like myself, being the leader of the community. He reached out to me constantly, just brainstorming. He would just call me around and, hey, let's talk about some ideas that you may have as to how we can raise funds for JOYE. And he'll just roll out some virtual event, and whatever we scoop out from that, if it helps even one child, it's a big deal. And they continue to do that, and they're still doing that. So I applaud JOYE and the entire Alfie and the entire organization for that.
Thank you so much for your testimonial there. And again, we were talking past, we're talking present. Let's also talk local and international. What are some things that are happening first on the local level here in Texas? And then we'll also talk more about the international level.
So let's talk about local. And this was one that really surprised me personally. I live in Allen. And anybody that knows where Allen, Texas is, next to Frisco, will tell you that there's no needy people in Allen, right? So being a member of Rotary Club, member of Chamber of Commerce, I came to learn that because I really did not understand the schooling system here in the US. I came to understand a little secret about schools called Title I schools. And I've started trying to figure out what do they mean by Title I schools. So I come to realize that Title I schools are basically schools in the neighborhoods where poor people are, basically. And they are very much in need, just like some of these kids that we are sponsoring in Gambia. because the description of some of these kids fits perfectly with some of the kids that we are sponsoring in the Gambia. These are kids that are being raised by their grandparents because their parents may have abandoned them, or may their parents get in trouble, they're in jail or something like that, and they're being raised by their grandparents. Some of these kids live like just a block after where the bus stops. So they have to walk to school. Some of these kids, they go to school without food, just like kids that are from Buyam. And they have to rely on food programs in the school to be able to be fed. And you don't know what happens when they go home, right? So I came to learn about some of these kids and then start working with the schools and then just trying to see how best we can help, because we have a program that helps children back in the Gambia, but these kids are also living just in my backyard, right? So we start the program of just like what we do in the Gambia, which is providing school supplies, mentorship, and then providing even feeding for, especially during their spring break, during the Christmas break, during Thanksgiving break, during those holidays. We provide them with packages that they can take home to feed them and their families for about a week or 2 weeks, depending on how long the break is. So that is something that was really amazing to find out in my backyard here in the US that is happening, which is very similar to what's happening in the Gambia. And there's a lot of other projects that we have in store that are coming up, that are being rolled out, that is beyond what we are doing. And Dr. Brown, I'm sure you can speak more about that. But in a hunch, that's what I would say is what we are doing here, apart from even providing gently used clothing to some of these kids, because some of them, they come to school and they may not have the right proper attire, or maybe they're not in the right form. So we may provide the ladies, especially with tights, so that if they have torn clothes, they can wear tights to kind of help them. And then we also do the feminine products, which we do both in the Gambia and then also here in the US, where we provide feminine hygiene products to these schools. The only difference with doing it here and in the Gambia is the fact that here, the dignity of the child is core. And I learned from that a lot, where you don't get to know these kids personally like we do in the Gambia, because their dignity is very important, and you don't want to put them in a situation where they feel, vulnerable because of their lack of provisions and things like that. So they really safeguard these kids very well to make sure that their participation in these programs that we provide them, other kids don't see them and make mockery of them in any kind of way. And I learned from that a lot, because if you notice, you would see that anything that we show about joy, we never show the conditions of the kids in a very desperate situation. We try to show it in the positive light. They're smiling, they're laughing, they're having fun, because we feel like the dignity of the child, it's very important. So yeah, we have a lot we have a lot of programs that we do locally, but those are just some of them. Like I mentioned, we also have the Adopt the Highway, keeping the city beautiful, where we go out and pick up trash on a stretch of road that has our organization's name attached to it that we adopted. So those are just some of the things that we do, and and we have the JOYE 10th coming up, so you can talk about that, Dr. Brown. But those are some of the activities that we do locally.
Okay. Well, thank you. And I'll speak briefly on JOYE 10th, and then we can maybe look at another video. So loved all of the programs that you discussed. JOYE is impactful. JOYE provides that opportunity, and again gives back to the community in multiple ways. And as we are growing, we are expanding our education realm, and we do have the JOYE 10th program, which will be coming mid spring or late spring in the summer, which will allow students to code, and we'll be sending more information out. We're starting small, but we have plans to make this JOYE 10th program on a larger scale. So we're excited about that JOYE Tech program. It will be coding and mentoring tied in together for students in the local Allen area. So thank you. Do you have a video for us before we talk more about international service?
Yes, I mean, you know, Abdullah mentioned about the well that we recently built in the northern region of the Gambia. Um, and the interesting part about that well is the fact that we have residents here in the diaspora with us whose family lives in that village, and we didn't even know that until after we complete the building of the well. That's when we found out that, oh, so people here that actually their families are benefiting from what we are doing in the Gambia, and it was very nice to know that we're actually not making only impact to people back in the Gambia, but even people here in the US. So I would like to take the opportunity to basically kind of play a video about the well, but more of a testimony from somebody who's from that area.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ib Senghor, and I live here in the Dallas area. I'm a part of the GTA executive, and with the GTA, we've supported JOYE in different facets. You know, we supported the Miles for JOYE initiative. We've supported the soccer games organized by JOYE, as well as the Gala Nights that you guys are a part of tonight. So in the words of our GTA president, Bamba Sohna, let us support our own, because you never know who will be impacted by the support that you give. So JOYE being a part of our community, we always strive to do our best to support all of the initiatives, because we know that, you know, the recipients out there in Africa, especially in Gambia and Kenya, are some of the underprivileged people that would, you know, that deserve anything that we do for them from our end. So the little that we do, or whatever your pocket can afford, we're not trying to manage your pockets, guys. You know, whatever you can afford, you know, it will go a long way in ensuring that someone somewhere out there is being impacted by it. You never know the impact that it can give. So recently, I hail from a small town in the North Bank region of the Gambia called Mwaletba Village. So that village gives you a little bit of the historical context. During the past, you know, governments that came by, it has been neglected in terms of, you know, pipe-borne running water. So they'll come all the way to the village, you know, dig holes and then bypass it and go to the next village. So the people out there have been struggling. So of recent, you know, there was a borehole that was dug there, and people were using that, but it wasn't enough. So little do we know that, you know, the JOYE Organization for Youth Excellence, which is JOYE, you know, was reached out to by some members of our community to help them with a borehole. That goes back to what I said earlier. In the words of Bamba, you never know who would be impacted. So in our case, I am a recipient because my people out there in the village have been impacted through some of the things that we're doing here. So like I said, you never know. It could be you, it could be your kids, it could be anybody that you're affiliated with or your significant others out there. Let's do our best hand in hand to help JOYE, because, you know, the people in our village of Mwaletba are really grateful that, you know, their water needs are now a thing of the past because of the intervention from JOYE.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Would anyone like to share or follow up after that that video? I love how he said the water wells are now a thing of the past.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I have to echo this because he mentioned me a couple of times, right? He referenced some of my sayings. Anyone in the community will tell you. I live by this, and I will continue to live by it. And I'll say one more time. When we keep the money in house, everyone benefits from it. But when it comes to things of this nature, imagine how this guy felt when he found out that Joy is building a well in his village, and he contributed towards that project. So, in essence, he personally is helping out members of his village. So, which goes to the reference that he made of me, and his saying goes like this: just help, because the person or the family member you help could be that of your own. So that's what he's talking about, that I constantly talk about. When we keep the money in house, we support the small businesses in our community, we support the nonprofit organizations in our community. The money continues to just circulate within the community, and everybody benefits from it, directly or indirectly. So you live in the community, you have some money to donate, you want to give out some you know, anything that you got to give out, you give it to a nonprofit organization in our community. You're helping someone that is related to you, especially if you know the history of that small country. Turns out to be the smallest country in mainland Africa with 2 million people. Trust me, we are almost all related. Anytime you meet a Gambian and you engage in a conversation with them, right? You come to find out, holy smokes, I am related to this person, right? It is that small. So to give you guys a story, this morning, we woke up, my wife read me a really, really inspirational note that she received from via Facebook Messenger. She has a small business and she's been selling to this young lady that lives in, I believe, in Seattle. Been selling to her for the longest, and they've established a really good rapport, real good relationship. A couple of days ago, my wife shared a story on Facebook. It's a story about her father. Her father was very well respected in the Gambia. He was a religious leader. He died at a very young age, at the age of 36. But by then, he had already established huge respect by the entire nation, and his history still remains. So this guy wrote a book about my wife's father, and my wife shared that book in on Facebook, and she shared a very nice story about her father and the book. The young lady that she was doing business with, that lives in Seattle, had just recently traveled to the Gambia. She's in there now. She read the story, and then she sent that inspirational message that I'm talking about on Messenger to my wife. Said, "Wait a minute, that's your father? My goodness!" And then she told her this long story of way back in the 1940s. Her great grandfather was actually raised by my wife's father's family. So she goes, wow, we've been doing business for so long, but we never talked about these personal issues. When I read the story, I came to realize that we have a very long relationship. So that goes back to what he's talking about. In the Gambia, it doesn't matter who you help. Trust me, the charity comes right back at home. That person is likely related to you in some way or another.
Thank you. The community, the village, the again opportunity, the family. Anyone else has? Do you have any other insight, or did you want to share anything else after watching the video about the international level of joy? Or if you just want to share something about the international level of joy.
I mean, I can talk a little bit, and then because I think that as an organization, you know, we are where we are. Like everybody know, we are where we are because of the support of our donors. And this organization, when it started, the plight was all for Africa. And we have so much impact in the life of a lot of people in the Gambia, in Kenya, you know, in the region of West Africa. And most people were given because of the African connection or the connection that they have with me. And now this is become to where it's the connection that they have with Abdullah, the connection that they have with Dr. Brown, the connection that they have with Bamba, the connection they have with Gaston, the connection that they have with Mercy. You know, so it's becoming to where it's not just a Gambian thing, but it's more of like an international level. So I go to say that where we are no longer just, we have most of our donations are coming from individual donors, but we also have some major corporations that are now being part of this organization where they are supporting our cause, they are supporting our events. I think that at this point in time, Dr. Brown, I think it's very appropriate for us to kind of share some of our major sponsors, especially for the year 2020. Now we are coming to 2021. Just a little bit about who they are. I mean, we have tremendous amount of them from T-Mobile, Bank of America, Comcast, and other organizations. But we have those organizations that we work more directly with on one-on-one basis that I just want to share, just to kind of let people know, the people that are behind this movement. What do you think about that?
Vive Broadband is freeing up and speeding up the way you live it up. Get the most out of your new smart assistant, stream your favorite shows with Roku, and protect your home and office with a connected Nest camera. With Vive Broadband, the speed you'll need in the future is already here. Visit vivebroadband.com to see services available in your area. TierPoint is your company's comprehensive IT partner. Every company is at a different point on the path to digital transformation. Wherever you are, TierPoint is there to help you along your journey. With a vast network of data centers, cloud pods, and IT experts, they deliver customized solutions to help you grow today, tomorrow, and in the years to come. Suddenlink by Altus is a communication company that provides television, internet, and phone services in the communities in which they serve. Suddenlink has the fastest internet services in these communities, and they strive to ensure that each of their customer interactions is unique. To learn more about Suddenlink, visit suddenlink.com.
Thank you for that video. We are so thankful for our local sponsors, our corporate sponsors. We are so thankful. Again, as you can see, we had Abdullah sharing his story, and he's the evidence, the success story. We have so many success stories because of these amazing and generous sponsors, and we are always accepting new sponsors. And if you have that tugging in your heart and you've been wanting to do something to give back and to pour into a child, we are always accepting sponsors. We have our website at the bottom of the screen. You can contact one of the JOYE members. You can go to our website. We are more than happy to engage with you and speak with you, because as you can see, we are so passionate about JOYE and the children that we support and communities.
Yeah, and I think that's a very important point to make, because, you talk about Abdullah, here, who was a beneficiary of JOYE and now a joy giver. Well, I call him a joyful giver, because so over the years, when we started this organization, I wish I have the video to share. We started with a goal for in 5 years to be able to sponsor 50 students. That was the original goal, to say in 5 years to be able to sponsor 50 students. And in the first year, as an organization, we were able to sponsor 136 students because of sponsors and supporters, that some of them that are watching or not watching or who will be watching, that gave to this great cause. And we were able to do that within a short period of time after launching our campaign. And over time, we grow to 250 to 300. And I would say this, we were just not adding students and then just sponsoring students because we feel like, oh, these are needed students and, let's just give them sponsorship. No, they were vetted. Their report cards were reviewed. Their family background were reviewed, just to get a better understanding that hey, if you are committed to this, we are committed to you. It's not just about giving you funds and support so you can just go to school. Performance was very paramount in this selection process. And we went beyond that and say, one, as we need to be reviewing their performance. So as we review performance, especially the first year, I come to the realization that, hey, you know what, these students are maintaining, are doing well. Some of them are falling off the scale, but we need to talk to them and get them back there. Then we start introducing different programs. And one of the ones that was very, very an outlier for us was the fact that we noticed a lot of the girls that were in our programs missed schools a lot. So after revisiting that with the principal to understand what's the problem, we come to realize that at that time of the month, these girls cannot go to school because they don't have the necessary feminine hygiene products to be able to, go to school and effectively be able to learn without feeling any kind of embarrassment that time of the month. So we added that to our program. And then as so this is just how serious we are about our program. As we continue to review our process, review the performance of our students and the like, we realize that, hey, we need to, some of these kids are coming to school and they are hungry, they're not getting fed. We add the feeding program. We add the uniform. We add a reinforcement program, which is tutoring after school. And we start looking at the community in which they live. We're like, hey, we are putting this investment out there and educating these kids. But guess what? They have to be able to have another life, a good lifestyle outside of the school classroom to be able to be successful in the classroom, because education is just not in that four corner wall of the classroom. So we realize that in some of these communities that live in, they don't have clean water. So you are just throwing your money out there, investing in these kids that probably could prematurely die because of waterborne diseases. So that's why at JOYE we say that we take the holistic approach to education, because it's not just about the classroom. I mentioned several different things that are outside of the classroom. Clean water. We talk about the feminine hygiene product. We talk about the reinforcement classes that they will have to take, the tutoring. Abdullah talked about the seeding program, where we provide vegetables and fruit seeds that they can use to subsidize their feeding program. So these are all things that we see as part of child development. It's not just about the education. Education is a subset of child development. And all of these things are part of child development, because if you don't provide access to some of these basic human rights needs to these kids, what kind of child development? Because that's where during those formation stages, that's what shapes who you become. Depending on what you know growing up during these formation stages leads to what you become. So we want to make sure that we shape them right, we get them all prepared so that they can be able to face the world that they're going to be living in with us. Because look at this. These kids that we are sponsoring today, that we are taking care of, they are going to be our doctors tomorrow. They're going to be our lawyers. They're going to be our bankers. They're going to be our teachers, right? We have, how many students do we have that have been in our program that are teachers now? I can count probably up to 6 to 10 kids that came from our program that are now giving back and teaching in schools. When we go to these schools, they will meet some of our volunteers and say, hey, hold on, I'm a JOYE beneficiary. How come? Yeah, and I'm a teacher now. So that's the type of world that we want to build. You don't want to have a doctor that's not well educated or not well equipped to be able to take care of you tomorrow. If you do, don't give back to these kids. But if you do, I will encourage you to give back to these kids. And it just doesn't come from corporations, but we rely more on our supporters and our individual donors. We have Ato that just joined, who is one of our faithful givers. Maybe we can introduce him. Maybe he can share his story and experience and his involvement with JOYE.
Hey, can I introduce him?
Go ahead.
All right, hang on. Let me introduce because we have to do this right. Okay.
Let me see your full screen.
Well, here's why. Because I want to echo something that the doctor said right a little while ago, trying to encourage people to be givers. Right. I want you guys to listen to this. If you're out there and you're trying to get into this world of giving, let me tell you guys, it feels so good when you give, and the more you give, the more you get. Right. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this saying, the helper syndrome. Helper syndrome is that feeling that you have after you've provided some act of kindness to people, right? Now, after just joining the call, right? And, Arthur and Alfie, actually, by the way, these are two of the happiest people that I know. And I am not kidding when I tell you this. Two of the happiest people. And here's why. Here's why. They give and they give. They give. They just give. They give us. And because they give, they get back so much. And when you say get, it doesn't have to be something tangible. Sometimes you don't even know what you're getting. You just know you got something. You feel so good because you just have a habit of giving. So to introduce Adar, he's one of those guys that just gives, right? As a leader of this community here, I'm obviously responsible for a lot of fundraising events where I'm going out to the community and asking. And then a lot of people count on me to help them carry their message when they go out to the community and ask. They'll send me something and say, can you do me a favor? Can you send this out to the community? Because I am looking, because I know your word is going to carry more weight. If it comes from you, more people will donate. And I would send it out. Mark my words, between Arthur and Alfie. I don't know if they call each other and say, I'm going first this time, let me go first, right? But they fight over who responds quicker than the other, right? They'll text me or they'll respond in our group chats and say, I'm in, count me in. Whatever it is you're looking to raise funds for, count me in. So the most recent example is the one that I just posted out from our religious group here. The month of Ramadan is coming, and I think they were trying to raise some funds to support some people back home or somewhere along those lines. I sent that out. I thought it was in the Gambia. And literally, as soon as I hit send, he responded saying, count me in, with a big exclamation point. You know what that did? I was like, holy smokes, this guy paused on his vacation and he's responding, telling me, when you're on vacation in the Gambia, if you've never been on a trip, it's a ridiculously expensive trip. He's out there spending all that money, but he was the first to respond and say, I'm in. And because he responded, and because of how well respected he is within this community, everyone else was following his lead. I'm in, from a whole bunch of other people, just because he stepped up. So without further ado, that is my introduction to one of the happiest people that I know, and that's Otto Gabinan.
Hey, thank you, Bamba. Thank you, Alfie, Gaston, Dr. Abdullah. I'm just happy to be here. I've been involved in JOYE for a little over a few years now. I've known about JOYE, but I've never been active. And so I spoke to Alfie about what I could do to help. And Alfie was like, well, try and help us from the corporate level. And so what I did was I spoke to my guys at Wells Fargo. I was able to get JOYE to send in some paperwork, and now they're part of our yearly giving. We used to do it every September, but now we've added it all year round. So what I do is every time it's time for giving, I email all the people in the district. I'm like, hey, it's time to give. If it's one organization you guys should look towards, it's JOYE. And so Alfie has pictures of managers calling. Alfie said, hey, come over to our branch. We've got this much funds for you. And Alfie will willingly drive over, pick up the funds and, take pictures with the guys at Wells Fargo. And, it's really happy for them to see Alfie out there, and so all the guys at Wells Fargo basically know Alfie. And so now I want to take this to the next level. And so hopefully, Alfie, you will stream it so that Wells Fargo will see it and know that JOYE is here to help. Not only kids in Africa, but kids in America here. I see all the drives you do in Allen. I see all the happiness kids derive from the coach you give, from the books You go to Africa, you see the wells you guys are doing, the kids you guys are supporting in the schools, and it is really, really, really something to marvel. You know, I always tell people that Alfie should be the next president of Gambia, because he is doing by himself what it'll take 100 people to do. And guess what? It's because of what he believes in what he's doing. He is dedicated. You know, he wants to provide options for kids that he didn't get. And so by Alfie going out there, getting everybody involved, providing for people, guess what we're doing? We're building a better world for ourselves. You know, growing up, not everybody in Africa or even in America here had opportunities that Alfie is providing. So, you know, from my side, what I always do is just continue to give, provide opportunities, let people know about JOYE. We are here to help, and that's the main important thing. Alfie is helping not only, I'll say what, close to what, 400-500 kids, if not more than that, and he's doing it. I'll say he'll say his team is doing it, but he's the guy behind everything. So, you know, I'm always happy to team up with Alfie, help in any way, shape, or form I can. And, you know, moving forward, you know, more people will see this, more people will see JOYE. And I'll always echo Alfie's sentiment. It's good to be joyous. There's joy in giving. And so if it's one thing I can say is, let's continue to be happy. Let's continue to be joyous. Let's continue to give, because it is in giving that you receive. So guys, get those stimulus checks out there. Help Alfie, help the kids, help the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Ato. I really appreciate it, but you know, I cannot take the credit because it's people like you, people like Bamba, Dr. Brown, Gaston, Abdullah, you know, who's making all this thing possible. Because, you know, when we talk about the humble beginnings, you know, I feel so much relief having you all, because I remember the humble beginnings when I was the marketing, I was the social media, I was the communications, I was pretty much everything. Staying up late hours, working at night, just trying to keep up with you know, with what's going on and trying to make sure that everything is thick and tight. But now, you know, it's a little bit more relaxing. I have people like Dr. Brown, Gaston, you guys helping me out there, you know, trying to make it happen, you know, with Dr. Amina and the folks on the ground with Abdullah. I don't really even have to worry about what's going on in the Gambia, because I have people like Abdullah there that are kind of making sure that some of these things are taking place. So it's because of you and the supporters that are making this thing happen. So again, thank you for those kind words, Ato. Hey, so we have Gaston.
You're welcome.
Who was one of our original board members. And this was during the dark days. I call those the dark days. At least now JOYE is actually on Facebook, actually having an event like this. Because JOYE never really wants to show itself. JOYE always had believed in JOYE continued to believe in doing what needs to be done. It's not about showing out, but it's more about just focusing on the task at hand. And I call those the dark days because those were the days that we were not even visible. I don't even know if people know that Gaston was part of the original board members of JOYE. So there was no visibility to JOYE and to our work. We were just doing our work just among our network of people. I'm just happy that now we can do that. So Gaston, do you have anything that you want to share about during those dark days? You're on mute. Let me unmute you.
I would love to say some, but I'm driving and it's extremely busy here downtown Dallas. I'm trying to drop my daughter at a hotel here for some event, but I don't know if I'm clear, if I'm very clear or not, or if I'm breaking up or what.
You are very clear.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me just say a little bit.
Okay.
You know, while I'm driving and trying to maneuver this crazy traffic here.
Safety
but
first.
I mean, say what?
Safety first.
Oh, safety first. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Anyway, I was one of the Anyway, when Alfie first approached me about this organization, at that time, I wouldn't say it was an organization. It was just something he thought about and thought that he could help, few students here and there with their schooling and all that stuff. And then, whilst we were trying to, developed this organization and make it what it is today. I mean, we went through maybe a lot of obstacles, maybe raising funds and stuff like that. But we didn't lose hope. You know what I'm saying? We still carry on with what we think is a great cause for students back home. So so we have a board of directors, and we were coming with ideas. We meet regularly to discuss stuff and come with strategies and all that stuff, trying to see how we can raise funds to help as many kids as possible. You know, so looking at it right now, where we are right now, if you ask me then, if you ask me then that the organization would be where it is right now, man, I would say no, because I never thought that we will get here, you know. But because of our generous donors, people that are willing to donate every time, you know, that what that is what brought us to this stage that we are right now. And I believe that as more people get to know about joy and get to understand the things that are really going on back home, helping students and other programs, helping women farmers, and and what is it, even back here. Uh, so I mean, definitely, I mean, there are a lot of people out there that really want to give. You know, so I mean, spreading this message of joy and all that, I think a lot of people will chip in. So I mean, so I'm glad, and I really uh happy being part of this. From the beginning until now. So so I'm glad that we have many people that are joining and making this happen. Uh, we started from a low number of students, and now we over 250, and we still keep going. So I hope that we will have a lot of sponsors coming. What is it? Years to come, or whatever, where we can at least sponsor about 1,000 students, back home. So the hope is there. Yeah. At first, I was not a believer, but now I'm a believer. Okay. So I know that we can. I know that we can do it.
But
All right.
yes, thank you. And if you listen to Gaston speak, I guess maybe people may not notice that, but when I listen to him speak, he keeps taking me back to that days. He keeps talking about the Gambia. Well, for me, I better literally talk about the Gambia now, right? But one of the something that came to mind as he was speaking when he said we met regularly. Everybody is into technology nowadays. When I say we used to meet using Skype, if I say that should give you an idea about where we are coming from. We'll talk about Skype anymore, right? People are talking about WhatsApp, like. So we were meeting using Skype back then. So that's what I thought that. And if you are watching, I want to just say this: that it's all about giving. Go to our website, giftofjoy.org, and you will find a couple of buttons there. One of them, donate one time if you want to, or you can set up for your monthly recurring donation. And it doesn't take much to sponsor a child. It could be just a lunch a day that you will sacrifice in a month. It's only $25 a month, and you can sponsor a child for a whole entire year. And we have a special button created for you. If you are someone that fits that category, just go there, click on sponsor a child and select the $25. But if that's too much for you, you can do $10, you can do $5, whatever you want. It has to be just more than $5 because of the platform. And you can just set it up, and it does, you monthly you will be donating and giving a chance to a child that is in need. It's not only adults that give, because in every home, if you have children and you want to encourage them to be givers, this is when to start. And you want to encourage them by sharing it with them about the gift of joy, so that they can also be givers tomorrow. So, with that said, Dr. Brown, if you don't mind, I want to introduce a video about givers. And these are joyful, youthful givers. So,
Hi, my name is Bubakar Sanko. I'm 11 years old.
And I'm his sister. I'm Nicola Sanko, and I'm 14 years old. And today we're going to talk to you a little bit about joy. How did you find out about joy, and what do you know about it?
So I actually found out about it recently, like a couple months ago. I was talking to my dad on how I was planning to spend my money on the local masjid to donate. And then he told me that I should probably donate to JOYE instead. And then he told me about the work they do and how they do it and where. And then I got inspired to donate and become a sponsor.
So how do people benefit from joy?
JOYE recipients benefit in multiple ways. One way is financially for their educational needs, hygiene care, and clean drinking water.
If you were to convince me to become a sponsor like you, what would you say?
Well, I'm fortunate enough, thanks to my parents, to provide me with all the resources I need to be successful in life. I want the same opportunity for all the other kids that aren't as fortunate as I am. Therefore, when you donate to JOYE, you give a kid that same opportunity.
all right. So you see, kids do give, and they talk so passionately about it. So,
yeah, I think I've been quiet for a while. I wanted to come in here. Listening in, all the amazing things you do there, to ensure kids here stay in school and communities benefit from a range of, projects to sort of enhance their socioeconomic status. I think it's so inspiring for me, giving all the effort, all the time and energy you put in to be able to, donate to make so programs here keep running. I think for me it's inspiring. I mean, amid competing priorities and your very busy schedules, all you do is it's indeed, inspiring, and it's even challenging me, being on the ground to even do more, because when busy people like you can do what you're doing, then I have to leave everything I am doing, continue the good job, we do collectively in the Gambia. I also want to touch on, another aspect of how JOYE is also, contributing to, the welfare of, the students we support in Gambia. So, JOYE sort of, takes a journey with these students. It's not just paying for their tuition fees at school, but also JOYE also ensures that, they're happy, they have stationery and, all the materials that are needed to sort of keep them in school and even do better. And it's not just that, but also, JOYE ensures that the communities they're coming from, they have access to potable water and, access to healthcare as well. I also wanted to talk about, how JOYE is very much focused on youth development. Most of the children we support, live in very remote areas, and they don't get the opportunity to also explore, the other side of Gambia. So, over the years, JOYE has also been organizing, youth summer camps, which I've been very fortunate to have coordinated, almost twice running. Because of COVID, I'm not sure we are able to have any anytime soon. But just to reflect a bit on those, summer camps, really. So JOYE gives the skill set, prepare the student for life after school. I mean, so it's not just ensuring that they get good grades, but also expose them to a range of issues. For example, how to build their careers. That's very important. Most children here, don't have the proper mentorship to be able to decide what they want to do after, completing their, their educational journeys. So JOYE has provided opportunity for all these students from different parts of the country, wherever they are, bring them all together, for a couple of days, organize a few sessions, whether it's on, life skills, whether it's career building, whether it's personal hygiene, and also, taking them around to explore, some very important historical, places in the country. So I think this has been very important. JOYE, has, tried to sort of provide the right skill set, and the tools needed for these, for these kids to thrive, even after, completing their education. So for me, I think I want to highlight this because it's very important. And I've seen some of these kids, they've built this self-confidence to be able to express themselves wherever they are. To network, to be able to communicate properly. So, thanks to all, the amazing work we do. So I just want to encourage, and keep encouraging, the supporters of JOYE to do what they can in their little bits, because, you may not realize the little you give, is not only changing the life of, very underprivileged child, but it's actually changing an entire community, by extension, the country at large. I just wanted to highlight these points, as we continue to reflect on the amazing work we do collectively. Over to you.
Hey, Dr. Brown, can I jump in?
Yes.
So I just want to put things into perspective. I'm so proud to listen to this young man speak. And I'm not in Alfie's shoes, but man, it's gotta feel great for you, Alfie, knowing that you have a hand in the success of one super young and bright Gambian. So there are 7% of our population that's in the diaspora, that's outside of the Gambia. 7%. There are 140,000 people from Gambia are now outside of the Gambia, whether it's in Europe or in America or other parts of the more civilized, the more developed countries. 140,000. I'm gonna pause and let that sink in for a second. Think about if we can do what we did for this young man right here. If each one of us can do what we've done for this young man right here, or if each one of us is doing just 10% of what Alfie is doing, when we are all on social media blasting our government, right? The government didn't do this, the government didn't do that, the government didn't do this, the government didn't do that. That is all true. We have incompetent leadership. We have incompetent people running our countries. But scratch all of that. We can fix this one at a time. There are 140,000 of us. 140,000 out of a 2 million population. Imagine if we all did, just each one of us did one of these guys right here. If we all each create one, and we can do more, because Alfie's doing a bunch more. I'm sure there's a bunch more people that can come out here and tell their stories, just like young man right here. But this is just one real good example, just to tie things together. If 140,000 of us created one of each of these, we would not even need our government. Beautiful country of ours. I'm gonna, like he said, back to you. I stole some of your words there, Mr. Kemp.
Thank you all so much. Just heartwarming and touching, and that was powerful. Yes, if we all just help one. If we all just help one, we can sponsor one, we can give the gift of just giving just for that one. If you just focus in on the one, then there's so much more that we can do as a whole. So before we close, is there anything else that we missed today?
So I want to, there's a lot of people behind this work, right? And we know that we cannot have everybody here. So I just want to share a message from our president, and then we can talk a little bit more, and then I can share from our vice president, and probably we can wrap this up maybe around about 11 minutes, if that works for you guys. But
So JOYE Organization for Youth Excellence is an organization that's really close to my heart. So I'm super excited when I get the question about, so tell me, what does JOYE do? What are you guys doing over there? So, education is just one part of what we do. So in providing education, what we do is we provide a tuition, and we don't just provide a tuition and say, hey, bye, you're on your way now. No, we provide you with the tuition, we provide you with the books, we provide you with the uniform, we provide you with the feeding, we provide you with all the tools that you are going to need to succeed. We provide you with the after school activities, we provide you with the extra curriculum activities, we provide you with the extra study classes if you need that, because we believe in academic rigor. We believe that for our students to actually succeed, they need to have a more holistic approach to development. We also believe that for our students to succeed, we need to work with the community that they reside within. So we work with the communities that our beneficiaries reside within. So in that regards, what we do is we provide, whether it's clean drinking water, whether it's providing seeds to actually augment the agricultural and sustenance farming that our communities do, or actually get involved in the infrastructure of the community, meaning by helping to build libraries. Then we have our Girls Hygiene Project, where we provide hygiene products to our young women within our program, because we noticed that the girls within our program, some of the time of the month, they were not going to school. We didn't want any one of our girls to have to make that choice, to be faced with that decision, to choose whether they should go to school or whether they should stay at home. We're about to break ground on our JOYE Academy, and this is a very exciting time to be at JOYE right now. So we're super, super excited. And this academy will be a place where we'll just tie everything together to what we do, whether it's from the education part of thing, whether it's from the community development part of thing, our hygiene product, because now we can have everything under one roof. JOYE. I mean, I know there are lots of organizations out there that you can give your hard-earned money to, but if you want to see that money go further, you want to see it go into doing things that are changing the world and changing into people's life and actually halting the trajectory of a life that was not going the right way and putting it on the right track, then give it to JOYE. Because JOYE is that organization that's actually going to make sure that every penny that you give the organization is going into programming and not into administrative issues. Everything is going into 100% of your money. It's going into our programming.
That's our fearless leader there. I want to just add to that, because she touched on several different things that we do as an organization. And one of the things that I don't think that we should leave this conversation tonight without touching on is the Leadership Academy. That's one of our cornerstone project that we have coming up. And this is a state-of-the-art facility that's being worked on. And we are at the infancy stage. And one of the slogans that I was reminded of 2-3 weeks ago when we were talking about the progress we are making in, with the Leadership Academy, one of the elders in our group reminded me that this is going to be what you call the school that grows. The school that grows. What that simply means is, and that comment has stuck with me. And what the school that grows simply means is, right now we are securing the place. We are putting up the fence, and it's progressing really well. The next phase would be laying the foundation. And laying the foundation will involve making sure that there's at least one classroom that we can start enrolling students. So basically the target is every term you have a classroom full with the kids, they move into the next level, you've already built the next classroom. So the school that grows, instead of trying to build it all at once and waiting for all that to happen. So that's where we want to start. Eventually, this is going to be a state-of-the-art facility, like I said, that will not just be focusing on that academic type of work. It's going to have vocational training to help kids to be able to advance not only after school, to be able to also go and find work, be entrepreneurial and things of that nature. And it's going to have a whole host of other things. It's going to even have on-campus students that will live there, especially the orphans that are in our program, the kids that are coming from all the different parts of the communities, where today we are traveling to about 25 to 30 communities just to serve our students. Like our president said, this will tie it all together. We'll have all our kids under one roof and be able to provide to them and provide them that child development, shaping their future that they need as kids. So I thought that that was very important message from our president there. So I'm not sure if anybody else have something else they want to share, or do you guys even have a question for me? I didn't see any questions coming through online. I've been watching to see if people are going to ask questions, but nobody asked any question. Looks like everybody's just, we are giving them all the information they need. But if people have any questions, you know, Abdullah is there. I'm here. We can answer. Dr. Brown is there. Anybody have any questions? But it looks like, you know, everybody on this call have been so much part of JOYE to where I don't know if you all have any questions. If you have a question that you may think maybe somebody out there may want to know, this is a good time to ask that question. We have 5 minutes, and I'll play the last video. And Dr. Brown, you can close this.
Well, I have a question for Abdullah. So for those who are listening, Abdullah, if you had one thing to tell them, what would that be? To encourage them to play a part in this.
Very important question, Bamba. You know, I would simply ask them to just give as little as they can, because that act of giving is going to change, you know, someone's life. I mean, someone who would, you know, to a great extent change, you know, the entire community or the entire country. Just like, you know, drawing example for myself, I'm sure someone actually gave, you know, to be able to support me to go to school, you know, get quality education, and, you know, to become the responsible young man I am today, and, you know, supporting my family and my community. So one thing that I would say is, you know, continue giving, you know, no matter how small it is, because you may never know the impact, you know, of that small act of kindness to give. It may, you know, impact, you know, the life of an entire community, you know, to achieve the sustainable development goals, you know, to be, you know, to be socially and economically, you know, advanced. So I would encourage all the supporters of JOYE, especially those watching us right now, continue to give, no matter how small it is, because you may never know where that support is, would end. So continue giving, no matter how small it is. Back to you.
Well said. I love this guy, man. And especially when he says back to you, man. This guy just puts joy in my heart. Like, you know what they say, man? What comes from the heart is the heart. I love this guy, man. When I come to Gambia, I'm coming to look for you.
Yeah,
Dr. Brown, I have a question.
He's a journalist,
Brown, I have a
Papa. He's a
question.
journalist.
Huh?
I said he's a journalist, so.
That explains it. He knows how to handle the microphone. A question for Dr. Brown. First of all, I just want to applaud you, because you don't have a horse in this race. We do. All of us do. You don't. What motivates you to do what you're doing for JOYE?
Well, thank you. That is an amazing question. And I always say, I always tell my story that when I attended the gala in Allen, Texas, and I watched the videos of the children, and my heart, it just tugged at my heart. And my degree is in child development. And when I thought about leaving my field, I didn't even realize that if I left my field, then this would be the place where I can utilize what I've learned about child development. So it tugged at my heartstrings. Children, it does not take very long for me to fall in love with them. So the fact that we can continue to build up our children who will be our future leaders, and to have an investment and a stake in that, when you can just look at someone like Abdullah and say, you know, we were a part of that. And the way that he's so humble and grateful and thankful, that's
Yes.
what continues to motivate me, because it's not about us. You know, we have our own intentions, but it's really not about us. When you look in the eyes of a child and you see that we have provided hope and joy and opportunity for them, that is what continues to motivate me.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. So you know what? For me, that ties into helping the Gambia, because the median age in the Gambia is under 20 years. That means half of our population is under the age of 20. So when we talk about helping youth and helping children, there is no better way to do it than through joy. The median age in the Gambia is 19.9 years.
Wow.
So think about the future that we have as a country. When half of our population is less than 20 years old, we invest in those people, we have a bright future ahead of us. Huge future ahead of us. So again, for everyone else that's listening, that's out there listening to this, and you're looking to just make a better person out of yourself, there's no better way to do it than just put your money in the joy bucket. I just wanted to add that there.
Thank you.
I do have something that I want you all to think about. So Alfie's going to show us this video, and this will give you a chance to think about your response. So before we close after the video, I want everyone to either give us one word that describes our future of joy, or a phrase that describes what you think the future of joy will be. So I'm not really putting you on the spot, because I'm giving you some time during the video to think about it.
Fair enough.
Okay?
Good one, good one.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Marcy Cox, the Vice President of JOYE. To me, joy is a symbol of hope, and we're working together to bring a better and brighter future to students and their families and their communities. Well, I actually learned about joy from our fearless founder, Alfie Jurarim, and he and I were co-workers together for a long time at the same company. And several years ago, he shared with me about joy and his vision on wanting to give back to students in his home country, and his passion for the organization and his enthusiasm for wanting to change lives and offer a hope and a future for children and to give them an education. It was just absolutely contagious, and I really wanted to do whatever I could to help, and eventually I became a volunteer, and now I'm a board member, and I'm so thankful to be a part of the organization. First and foremost, they benefit from receiving tuition for their education. They also receive the supplies they need for school. We provide fruit and vegetable seeds for their families, so their families can grow their own food and they have nutrition. They can take any surplus and sell it to make money for their families so that they can provide a good living. And it's been a dream and a vision for many years to have a single campus that the children can receive a consistent education, and that it keeps us from having to go to different campuses and different schools and keep up with how the students are doing. It really just allows everything to be consistent and in the same place. And it would be wonderful to know all the students are receiving the meals and care that they need in addition to their education, and I look forward to that day. It is such a joy to be able to see that we're helping so many children gain their education, which is life-changing, absolutely life-changing. They get their education, their communities are improved, their families are improved, and there are so many success stories, and seeing the smiles on the faces of those who are benefiting, it just gives that extra boost of motivation to continue helping, to continue striving and working hard to do what we can to help these precious children. We can't do this alone. We need your help. We need volunteers. We need funding. It's great to look at what we're doing and say, oh, good work, but we can't do it alone. We can't all fund it out of our own pockets. We need to work together to provide these improved futures for these children, because they are going to be the ones taking over in a few years, and we want them to be educated and ready. Check out our website and go look for all the ways that you can help, whether it's volunteering your time, donating money, donating supplies. There's so many ways to get involved.
Thank you. So before we close with what joy means for us in the future, we want to just implore you to please sponsor a child today. You can visit our website. If you don't have the funds at this time in your local or even in the Gambia, we are also looking for volunteers, but your sponsorship will mean the future and it'll mean just opportunity and hope for a child. All right, guys, back to you. So, let's hear it. As we think about joy for the future, what's your word or your phrase or sentence?
Well, I can start, Mr. Alfie and Dr. Brown. For me, he'll have to circle back to the video of those kids talking about giving. And the young gentleman said something profound. He said, I want to give other kids the opportunity. And for me, the word is opportunity. Joy is giving kids the opportunity to be the very best they can. And that's just giving them the basic necessities of life. People don't want a car, they just want to be able to go to school. And that's very, very simple. How is Joy doing it? Getting these people to sponsor a kid, giving them the opportunity to be in the same class other kids. Opportunity, that's my word.
All right.
Next.
I'm gonna go with, I don't know why, but I thought of the word distinction. And then once I thought of the word, and then I went in and looked up a meaning for it. It says excellence, excellence that sets someone or something apart from others. As I mentioned before, the median age being under 20 let us help the majority of our population to set up our country, our children apart, and give them the opportunity that kids in the Western world have. Make Gambia the shining brightness of the entire world. That's my closing.
Okay.
Austin.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't have a word for it. Yeah, since Otto has taken the word opportunity. So, I mean, for me, I think it's about helping our kids, especially the unfortunate, the less fortunate ones that are really bright, but they don't have the resources, you know, to get where they need to be as future leaders of our country. I think this is it's an opportunity uh, that Joy brings for students like that, students like Abdullah. I mean, if it was not Joy, it would have been definitely difficult for him. But because of Joy, definitely he he.
Looks like we lost him.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Abdullah.
Well, from the Smiling Coast and looking forward to the future, I want to say it's very promising. For me, joy, it's like it's a sense of belonging for me. I belong to joy, and I've committed myself to
So,
creating
and
more.
also, there's a question that.
That's
Go ahead.
Right. So I was saying, I've committed myself to creating more versions of me. Because joy is here to stay. Joy is here to sort of, support underprivileged, children to become productive citizens of this country. So, well done to all of you. What you do really inspires us. So I want to say thank you very much for what you do, and keep giving, because like I said, you never know what one small act of kindness, would lead to. I mean, it was just one, small act of kindness that gave me the opportunity to go to school, get good education, and to become, who I am today. So thank you very much for all you do. And once again, a very happy 10th anniversary to Joy. Back to you again.
Back to you. Yes, I love it. It makes my day when he says that. I was waiting for it. I was like, please say it. I love this guy, man. Alf, where'd you find this guy, man?
He found me.
It's awesome, man.
He didn't tell you his story fully. That's why. I didn't find him. He found me. No, true story though. I went to that school, Guyam, and I happened to go to their class, and he was there, but he was not selected to receive sponsorship. But come to learn that he was being kicked out of school. The guy chased me on Facebook and followed me everywhere I go, every turn. And he sent me his transcripts and sent me his letter of request for sponsorship and all of that. We reviewed it. And I followed up with their teacher, and they just kind of get to know his background more, because that's more important to me. That's important too. Come to realize that he's been kicked out several times, and he's about to be kicked out again. So that motivates after looking at his grades and understanding his condition. And then we have a commitment that you're going to improve your grades, and you're going to, work hard to be able to maintain this sponsorship. You were not chosen for a reason. So since then, he really put work, and I'm sure there's a lot of factors that affect kids with as far as education. If you are not having, he may not say all of this, but if you don't have a background at home to help you, who values education, or who's been educated and know what it means when you get home, instead of putting you to do chores, but making sure that you are following up on your homework and doing all of that. That is a disadvantage. Not having food, the proper nutrition at home before you go to school and all of that, it's also another issue, right? So there's a whole host of issues. So it's not about their intellect or their capabilities. They just have a lot of distraction. And as we all know, Dr. Brown, you are in child development, you know all of this. There's only one thing that a kid needs, and that's what Joy is striving to do every day. And my word would be consistent. We want to stay consistent. And that's all a child needs. If you give them consistency as a kid, that would do more than you would ever imagine, because that's all a child needs. They just need consistency. They need to be able to get up in the morning, know it's time to eat breakfast, they have the breakfast. It's time to go to school, they're able to go to school without distraction. It's time to eat lunch, they have it. It's time to eat dinner, they have it. Now, the moment you start distracting them with, oh, we don't have breakfast today, we don't have dinner today, I cannot buy you this, then you are removing that consistency, because in their mind, they have certain things they feel like it's a priority for them, and that's what they need. So the moment you give them those consistencies, and education is one of them. If a child is worried about, oh man, if I go to school today, hey, you should have gone to school in the Gambia, Dr. Brown. They will call you out there, hey, Alfie, did you pay your school fees? No, go home. And everybody will know your business, So if you have to worry about all of that, and you go to class, maybe you have to hide from the teacher to see you, and you are so ready for the teacher to leave the classroom, when do you have time to really focus on what's being taught in class? There's a lot of other things that are very destroyed. For me, I would say consistency. And that consistency will lead us to fulfilling our promise that we have for all these kids, because we can only fulfill that promise by staying consistent. We cannot go to the kids and say, we don't have funding to be able to sponsor you this year because we don't have donations. Last year was the hardest year for Joy, where we got hit really hard with the pandemic. We raised half of the funds that we would normally raise in a year. And it was the most expensive year for JOYE, because we were not just we just not paid for all their supplies, their tuition fees and reinforcement classes, uniform, all of that, their feeding program at school. Pandemic hit. It sent home. Now, the opportunity they were having probably to have that 1 meal a day, if they were lucky, which is at the school that we already paid for, they don't have it anymore. What do JOYE have to do? We have to go spend money, buy rice, oil, sugar, and the necessary stuff, basic stuff that they would need to be able to eat at home. But maybe we only have one child in that home that we would have sponsored at school. But now there may be 5 of them at home. We cannot just say, hey, you know what, we just need the necessary amount for that one child. So now we are providing for the entire family. So we have to spend a lot of money. So it was the most expensive year, but the least donation year. So we outspent our donations significantly. So if you are watching, that's why I would like everybody, if you can, we're just looking for 100 people that will go to our website and click that sponsor a child and select one of the options and set themselves up for a year of monthly donation, so that we can make sure that these kids don't lose that opportunity when comes time September and they have to go back to school. We don't want to tell them that we can't afford to pay for you to go to school. So that's why it's very important that, you know, we share some of these stories, the success, but let people know it's because of you, the donors, you, the supporters, you, the ones that would say, I want to chip in because you have a gala. I want to chip in because you have Miles for Joy. You are celebrating your anniversary. This is very important to me. I am going to sponsor a child today. So I'm reaching out to everybody for us to stay consistent, which is my word of the day. Help us stay consistent by giving back. And the way you give back could be as simple as giving us $25 a month when you click that button. Or you can do $5, $10, $15. We have all those options where you can go in and select. But $25 a month, we sponsor a child for the entire year of education. Back to you, Dr. Brown.
Love it. Hey, Dr. Brown, before you close us in, can I say something real quick? I know we're out of time, but I feel like I have to say this. And it's all back. I'm going back to my favorite person here, Mr. Abdullahi. So, you know, your story is great. Alfie just told us a little clips of it, right? So my challenge to you is that you need to tell that story to every Gambian youth that you have a chance to talk to. You have a platform. From what I heard, you are a journalist. Every time you hold that microphone, if I'm you, talk about your story to teach the average Gambian youth a lesson that, you know what, you don't sit back and just wait for opportunity. You have to go seek opportunity. Absolutely. Right? And then they have to understand that they're going to hear a bunch of news. Listen to these numbers. The average child by the age of 17 will hear no 150,000 times. I'm not making these numbers up. It's a fact. By the age of 17, they'll hear yes only 5,000 times. So 150,000 no's, or they get to 5,000 yeses. And they have to do what you did to get to dig out those yeses. They got to give themselves an opportunity for a yes. You were relentless. You did not settle. You went after yours, and you got your yes. And the 3 things that you need to remind the people when you tell your story, the youth, 3 things that they need to do. 1, they need to believe in themselves. You believed in yourself. You can do this. I was turned down, but that's not me. I could be more successful. I'm not going to let that define who I am. And then you align your thoughts. That's the second thing. Align their thoughts with their beliefs, right? The third thing is that they have to take action, to achieve what they believe in. So they have to believe in themselves. They have to align their thoughts with those beliefs, and then they got to take action to make those beliefs come through. Please remind them that by the age of 17, they will hear no 150,000 times. They'll hear only 5,000 yeses within that same period. So tell your story every time you have an opportunity to let our Gambian kids who are just sitting in the street corners drinking attire the whole day, that does not get the country to move forward. They got to get up and go after what is theirs so they can find that yes within the 150,000 times that they're going to hear or no. Dr. Brown, Back to you.
Back to you.
Well said. Well done, Bamba.
I'm convinced he wanted that moment so he could say back to you.
You're damn right.
Well, gentlemen, I will say that you mentioned just about everything. You summed it up. So, in order for us to have a glimpse of our future, we have to go back to the past. So, for me, since you all took everything, I'm going to take it back to the past and bring it to the future. So, when I think of joy, I think that joy is one of the avenues that our ancestors dreamt of, and it's a smile from our ancestors saying well done as we look to the future, and they are probably looking down and saying our children and our generations are building future nation builders. So again, I had to go back to our ancestors, that they definitely have to be smiling down at the work that's being done with joy as one of the avenues to help our further generations. And that's me. Back to you all.
Well, with that said, Dr. Brown, I know we are closing. We don't have to really all be here unless if somebody has something to say. But I think I want to close it with the Joy video again.
Okay.
Then play the video of our supporters, because without them, we wouldn't be here. And it's very evident, and I think everybody echoed that. And we want more people to give. And it's not only corporations that give to us. Our 90% of our donations comes from individuals like us, individuals, not corporations. But we do have corporations that we partner with, and I think it's important for us to kind of recognize them when we have events. So I'll play maybe I should play our sponsors and then close it with the Joy video.
All right.
All right.
Vive Broadband is freeing up and speeding up the way you live it up. Get the most out of your new smart assistant, stream your favorite shows with Roku, and protect your home and office with a connected Nest camera. With Vive Broadband, the speed you'll need in the future is already here. Visit vivebroadband.com to see services available in your area. TierPoint is your company's comprehensive IT partner. Every company is at a different point on the path to digital transformation. Wherever you are, TierPoint is there to help you along your journey. With a vast network of data centers, cloud pods, and IT experts, they deliver customized solutions to help you grow today, tomorrow, and in the years to come. Suddenlink by Altus is a communication company that provides television, internet, and phone services in the communities in which they serve. Suddenlink has the fastest internet services in these communities, and they strive to ensure that each of their customer interactions is unique. To learn more about Suddenlink, visit suddenlink.com.
Joy. Joy means just that, joyfulness and gratitude. Joy represents the gratitude and the paying forward, the forward investment into our community.
Joy as a platform provides opportunity to link my children to my homeland, which is the Gambia. They get to learn about the needs of other children just like them, and hopefully see how fortunate they are growing up here in the US, and also be able to relate to my upbringing and the challenges I faced growing up in the Gambia.
These stories of the children who were craving to attend school and grateful for the opportunity to attend school and grateful for the opportunity to be of service to their community, that tugged at my heartstrings. So that's what inspired me to be a part of Joy.
Providing a more holistic approach to child development, a more holistic approach to community development as well.
Joy is a symbol of hope, and we're working together to bring a better and brighter future to students and their families and their communities.
Joy is the smile opportunity to advance their community.
We also provide items locally for students that are struggling in the Allen area. We do coat drives, school supply drives. We've been doing an Adopt a Highway cleanup where we're helping keep the community of Allen clean and looking nice.
Joy is the glimmer of hope that each one of us places in a child's life when we invest in them. The glimmer of hope that they so desperately need. Just that little ounce of motivation and push that they need to know that they are our next leaders.
Well, we have one of our next leaders with us, which is Abdullah. The holistic approach to education. A symbol of hope by Mercy Cox, and the glimmer of hope by Dr. Brown. Back to you.
Well, this has been, like I've been saying, a joyful afternoon, a joyful day. Happy 10th anniversary, Joy. And let's do this for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 more years.
Amen.
Happy anniversary.
Way to go, guys. Way to go, guys.
Thank you all.
All right, man.
Great job, guys.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. All right.
Staying up that late. You stayed up. It's what, 11 o'clock now?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you have a good night. Okay.
No, it's been an amazing night. I'm buzzing right now.
Good. All
Thank
right.
you. Amazing work you do.
Director of education for Joy, so you're gonna be dealing with her quite a bit very soon.
Bless you,
Sure.
Abdullah. Bless you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.